The Candle, revisited with a focus on feeling and spirit. Before delving into some of the major categories of words, a further attunement exercise would be helpful to tie the meditative experience into the spiritual and emotional realms of thinking, especially since these realms are such an influential part of our everyday life. Earlier in the book, an immersion exercise with a candle was presented. That exercise focused on the abilities of concentration, visual acuity, and the width of perception you have of the world. Most of that exercise was related to the faculty of perception by means of the sense organs. Now that you have developed some solid meditative skills, including a sound foundation for quieting the mind, you are enabled with a sensitivity to discern very subtle mental and sensory experiences. So, this exercise takes advantage of that higher degree of mental acuity and revisits the immersion candle exercise, this time focusing on the moral and spiritual dimension of the mental experience. In order to sense these moral and spiritual dimensions, you need to enter the world of inner meaning. With the written word, its sense of inner meaning is contributed to from the audible word, the thoughts associated with the word, and the experience or context the word is used in. Words in their everyday usage have a very strong literal component. On the other hand, the mystical and spiritual aspects of words and their mental experience are much more abstract and harder to accurately define. But it is possible to feel them out, so to speak, by using a conceptual framework to enhance your focus on the spiritual or mystical qualities of your life and the objects they symbolically associate with. This conceptual framework is called an anagogical sense in Christianity and has four conceptual components. Combined together, these components can provide a holistic understanding of thoughts, objects, words, and feelings on the spiritual or mystical level. Here is a brief outline of these conceptual components. The first component is literal. As mentioned already, this is the impression you have with direct everyday usage of a word or phrase. Internally, it is the habitual, indoctrinated, common, and familiar sense of an object. Keep in mind that the term object is used in this section to represent a physical object, a word, thought, idea, or feeling. The second component is anagogical. This is where you can take the object and interpret it for its mystical or spiritual qualities as it relates to your eternal or timeless sense of being. It is an internal mystical or spiritual experience from which a sense of meaning is realized. Timeless here refers to your presence now during life and after death. Your conceptualization of that timeless part of you has a sense about it. That sense also reacts to objects and actions. The next characteristic is allegorical. Here, You can hold the notion that the literal meaning of an object is actually an expression of a sustained metaphor. The metaphor itself often referring to something older that you already knew. In that regard, it is symbolic, and the evaluation of the current object, its meaning, is based on the symbolic figures, actions, or representations that you already hold in mind. Internally, it reflects the awareness of existing personal habits of thinking and doing, such as saying, "God bless you," when someone sneezes, which reflects the pre-existing sense that you wish them good health, you wish them well, all of which is based on an old symbolic custom. The last category is topological. This, finally, is where you interpret the object for its figurative meaning. It could be a figure of speech, but remember, here it focuses on the moral dimension. So, since words are increasingly ubiquitous as you move towards the spiritual realm, you are challenged to ask, what moral image does the figurative cluster of words paint for you?